Canada's defence minister outlining some new developments in strategy. CTV national news reporter Jeremie Charron joins us now live with the latest on this. So, Jeremie, what exactly did Anita Anand say?
Yeah, look, Kent, Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand speaking to a defence conference here in Ottawa, outlining Canada's priorities when it comes to its approach to Canada's defence plan moving forward, specifically touching on three pillars of Canada's approach. Our involvement in Ukraine, Canada's investments and plan moving forward for the Arctic, and the situation in the Middle East. The minister focusing on all three of those things, specifically outlining, what Canada has done in Ukraine when it comes to the Arctic, the new measures that are being undertaken to secure and help secure the Arctic, her recent visit to Nuuk, Greenland, and then Canada's position in the Middle East, reiterating what we have heard over the last several days and what you just heard from the Prime Minister. But a lot of the focus at this conference this morning is also on Canada's commitments to increasing rapidly defence spending based on NATO commitments made at the 2025 NATO summit in The Hague. Canada is expected to, or has set a deadline of the end of this month to reach the 2% of GDP spending on defence, and also talked about the commitment to, by 2035, reach a newly agreed upon target of 5% on defence spending. So the minister reiterating Canada's commitment to those targets this morning while speaking to this defence conference.
Now, big decisions ahead when it comes to replacing submarines and fighter jets. What do we know about that?
Yeah, two key topics or issues that will certainly help Canada spend that money required to reach those targets. Massive investments. What we know is when it comes to the submarine plan moving forward, Canada is significantly closer there than they are on the fighter jets. They're down to two final proposals. March 2nd was the deadline for the companies to submit those proposals. And we know that German company TKMS, as well as South Korea's Hanwha, both submitted proposals prior to that deadline. And so now Canada will undergo the review process to determine which will be the best fit. It is expected, CTV News has learned through sources, that that decision will be made by June, which company to move forward with. There was a push from Canada's Industry Minister, Melanie Joly, for either of those proposals to include potentially establishing a supply chain for manufacturing vehicles here in Canada. That is not the case, but both proposals do include incentives of tens of billions of dollars when it comes to investing in the Canadian economy. So a big decision there that is expected fairly soon. When it comes to fighter jets, replacing the aging fleet of CF-18s that the Canadian Armed Forces has, that is a little bit slower of a process. The Canadian government is undergoing a review of that process, trying to determine whether to move forward with continuing to procure and purchase more F-35s. We have so far purchased 16 F-35s, completed and paid for from, those are American-made, of course, F-35s. But Canada's looking for a fleet of 88 fighter jets. And so the big question now is whether to continue to move forward with the American-made F-35s, given the change in relationship with our American partners, or do we go with a different company, and a Swedish company, Saab, that offers a Gripen, which is a similar but widely seen as not quite as capable fighter jet. And the Canadian government continues to review that process, and there has been no real update on a timeline in terms of when a decision will be made as to whether to continue forward with a full fleet of F-35s or to go with a little bit of both and perhaps purchase some of the Swedish-made fighter jets instead. So no concrete answers yet on that front.
Okay, we'll continue to pursue some answers. Jeremie, thank you.
Anytime.